if it's just streams issue. Okay, we're back. Try and figure out if it's Restream causing an issue or if it's one of these other platforms. I'm like honestly a day away from not using Restream anymore. Pretty tired of the issues. Okay, looks good so far.
Yep. Hi, Sparrow in YouTube chat.
Hi, Sparrow. Hi, Sparrow in YouTube chat that we just stopped streaming to.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. So sorry. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Sparrow. Help us.
Okay. Now are you ready to go?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Start again. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpeer.
Hello, hello, hello.
The Nymph is out on assignment right now, so he'll be joining us again next week. He's been sending me missives from the dungeon encounters, that is. So we will have many horror stories to share next week for that. So stay tuned. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
We just wrapped up a recording for Season 10 of Critical Misses. If you're not listening to Critical Misses, you can get 2-month early access to that show over on Patreon. That's the show where Moon and I are sort of catching up all the hits we've missed across a whole bunch of media. It's a lot of movies, largely. We hit some anime, we hit some music. We'll get back to some of that in the future.
Books.
Yeah, we'll do some books at some point. We'll do like a proper book club at some point. But it's largely focused on movies as we're sort of... Both of us are trying to play some catch-up on some stuff we've missed. You also get 2-week early access to We Rogue Like It, a show where Moon and I play a whole bunch of roguelikes. And apparently we've picked a game that we will do one run for this month, this time. So tune in to see what game that is. And you also get the exclusive uncensored Outcast, which is where we kind of talk about the rest of the stuff that's going on, like both the stuff that we're like listening to and reading and watching, but also kind of the stuff that's going on in our lives overall. So my family and I took a trip this week that did not turn out how I expected. If you want to hear where that is and what happened, go check out the Patreon. The recommended tier is the $5 a month tier. There will be a new show coming for patrons at the end of December. It's like a Critical Misses thing that's going to be happening. So if you want to upgrade your patronage before then, we recorded the first episode of it that we thought would probably be about 15 minutes. Turned out to be 41 minutes. So that'll be a patron exclusive at the $5 level. We'll talk more about it when it's coming out here at the end of next month. All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, I played some Destiny 2, but we're not going to talk about Destiny 2 this week.
Does that game start with a D and end in Destiny 2?
It does. So we're just gonna move right on by that one.
Okay.
Yes, it is Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody, by the way. For those listening to this in the future, and we hope you had a safe, fun Halloween.
Yep.
And all of those nasty people didn't put CDB goods in your children's candy.
Yeah. Yep, just giving away money.
That's something we should have covered on the pre-show, I think.
That probably should have, yeah.
But yes. So I played some here. We're doing the thing, and had some fun. But however, I want to jump over to the Procession to Cavalry.
Yes.
Did you start this yet?
No.
This game is weird.
I was instructed this week to maybe move a game, make a game on my 2021 cool games to pay attention to that I shouldn't lose sight of. It has a very catchy name.
No. The reason everybody was bothered is because 2021 cool games that I didn't have time for to not forget about.
Hold on. 21 cool games I don't have time for, but I can't forget about. Yes. The very last game on the list, The Forgotten City, is caused some friction on Twitter, so that has to move higher and higher in my my pile of shame.
I have been peer pressuring you for a while about this one.
Well, to be honest, the list, like, I largely created the list. I saw someone else do this on Twitter, and it's like, all right, I need to do this, because at some point I just need to, if I don't get to some of these by the time that top 10 happens, I need to just put these in PS prices and call it a day, and just say, like, all right, whenever they're on sale and I have a window, because I don't want to forget about stuff like Bloodshore, which is coming out this week, or Unsighted, or Lost in Random. No one is going to remember Lost in Random, which is like a platformer, like semi-building thing where you roll dice to like make parts of the world. No one's going to remember that game, but it sounds like a thing I'm really going to enjoy. So
yeah,
and so get in the car loser.
List and at the end of the year, just put in PS prices, and that's fine.
Yeah.
However, one of the games on your list, the one that caused the friction, is also on Game Pass right now.
I already have it installed. I just need to. I did look up on the ESRB's website about what content is in there. I think it will largely be okay to play in front of the kiddo. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Getting choked up about Game Pass. Oh, it's such a good deal.
I'm thinking about it, and there isn't really a whole lot of. There's no blood, there's no gore, there's very little language in it that you have to worry about. When people die, they tend to turn into golden statues.
Great. Answering a lot of questions about King Midas. It's a good learning experience.
There is one area that is a little bit scarier.
Sure.
But you'll know it when you get to it, and that might be a pause the game and take a break kind of moment.
I honestly don't play anything with the sound on, so largely not a problem.
Yeah, but no, honestly, I'm kind of glad that is it Late Elf, because he uses different names.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad that he jumped on the Twitter bandwagon to bully you in regards to this, because it's like it's an impossible game to recommend to somebody, because it's hard to start talking about it without immediately ruining it. Or
well, for me, I found out that the shortest way to recommend it to me is, hey, did you like Return of the Obra Dinn? It's like that. And I go, hell yes, I did. Get it installed.
Yeah.
So if you like Return of the Obra Dinn, you might like The Forgotten City.
That's actually a very good point. I never realized how close it is to Obra Dinn.
They share kind of that same DNA.
Here is clues. Figure out the solution to the clues. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that made its way higher up your list. But yes, the Procession to Cavalry.
Yes.
That is the game we were talking about. That is the game that. Okay, so I made 2 notes for that this week.
Okay.
The first note is what ?
Oh, fair.
And then a whole bunch of spaces, and then what ?
Also fair.
My second note is I'm having an existential crisis.
Okay.
I don't know. This is another game that's honestly impossible to talk about without unless you play it, you don't really understand.
Yeah.
It is fine. If you are looking for a different type of experience to every other video game experience that you seem to have,
a singular sort of thing.
This might be right up in your wheelhouse.
If you're like a classical art nerd, this might be your jam.
If you're a classical art nerd, you should be playing this anyway. This should be on your Google alerts for classical art.
They made it for me.
Yes, exactly. If you're a regular video game jet like the rest of us, it's like nothing I've ever played before.
It's an experience.
Yes. That's putting it politely.
Yeah.
There is entire sections of this game where you literally just hear people screaming over and over again because, spoiler alert, during Renaissance art there was a lot of torture going on.
Dante's Inferno, am I right? I played that game.
Crucifixion scenes, a lot of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's a fine game. It takes like 4 to 5 hours maybe to beat it if you're not using a walkthrough. Honestly, it's relatively fine playing it because like I needed help with one thing, and that was what to do with the skunk. And I wish I was kidding when I said that.
That's what the kids are calling it nowadays.
It's actually is what kids called it when I was a kid. I needed help with that, but that was about it really. Like this isn't the classic point and click adventure of put the glue on the lolly stick, put the lolly stick on the back of the cat to get yourself a fake mustache.
Right.
It isn't any of that jazz.
Right.
The only section of it that was like that was the skunk section, but it kind of made sense if you know what you're looking at.
Right.
But it is a very strange game.
Yeah.
It's fine, like I said.
Right. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, it's just a little bit abstract. I think abstract is probably the best way to describe it, maybe, where the story makes sense, kind of, considering it's literally a story made up of bajillions of Renaissance paintings.
Right.
The gameplay is fine. The music is all classical music because who cares when you don't have to pay for licensing?
Yeah, it's royalty free. Get it on in here. Yeah.
Oh, I hear you like Bach, so I put some Bach in your game so you can enjoy the Bach.
It is indescribable but neat.
Yes.
Okay.
Similar to my face.
Right.
But give it a shot. Like who knows? Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe it'll be game of the year for you. But
sure, it's the cool part about Game Pass. Like, just try it. It will take up very little of your hard drive space. It might be a neat thing. If not, you just wasted a little bit of time.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a waste because boy, it's a ride.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fun. Whatever. The only other game I played this week is The Artful Escape. Obviously, we're not talking about 2 today.
Not until December.
Yes, not until December. The Artful Escape.
Yes, I've been interested in this one.
Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I get my references right here before I try and describe this game in a sentence. A Star is Born, that's the Lady Gaga, what's-his-face movie. That's about a country singer, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so the way I've described this is it's A Star is Born with Pink Floyd, with Electronic Light Orchestra,
right,
on an acid trip.
Yeah, so early Pink Floyd.
Yes, early Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Do you like Adam Hart Mother? This game is for you.
Did you put Pink Floyd on at the same time as
The Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you did that, this game might be for you. Right. This is like 80s space, like jazz rock all mixed in together, and it's an experience. It seems to be my theme this week.
The way they've been selling it has been like, it's like an origin story for a made-up psychedelic rock star. Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up. And the reason that the country song comes in is because the main character is the nephew of a country music legend. So everyone expects him to be a country music player. And he doesn't like country music. He only, like, when he really lets himself go, he turns into the David Bowie, Prince, space, electronic rock kind of combination.
Right. I'm gonna try and put a video of this on the stream here.
Like, as someone who this music is not my style. Like,
Okay.
I'll admit it right now. Like the futuristic space jazz is not kind of in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But oh boy, is the music in this game incredible.
Nice.
Like, it starts off with that soft jazz country beat or that soft country music in the background, and then it just turns into full-on insanity as it goes.
Yeah.
Like, if you've seen Doctor Strange, the Marvel movie, or the Ant-Man movies, that bit where he gets sent throughout multiple dimensions and he's shown the world or the universe, it's that in a video game format. Like, it's legitimately a little bit impressive.
Do you like Jefferson Airplane?
I don't know who they are, but yes, okay. Sure.
You would, but we won't dive into it.
That's for critical misses to see.
That's right. That's right.
But like, let me just start. Like, when you start this game, like, it's got a long introduction, and that's fine because it introduces you to the world pretty easily. The thing that shocked me is when it starts listing off the cast members for the voice acting.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen this.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna I'll let you do it. Just go on IMDb for me and like check out the voice cast for this game because
get rid of this video here in the live stream.
It's got some names tied into this, and when they start showing up, you're just like, wait, what? Wait, what? Hold on a minute, what?
Oh, okay. Like Carl Weathers, Lena Headey, Jason Schwartzman, Mark Strong. Love Mark Strong. Yeah, this is quite a list.
And that's like in big letters right as the introduction is playing, and I'm like, wait, did that say Lena Headey?
I can't believe Carl Weathers is in here. That's wild.
Dude, it's not a small role.
Really? That's great.
It's kind of a big role. Like, the first time you hear his voice, it's on the telephone, and you're just like, okay, so he's just going to be this dude who calls in every now and again. No.
Man.
Dude is kind of a major character in the game.
Jeez.
But the way the game opens up is it's you walking around town. That's got this country music festival going on. You're supposed to play the closing set for your deceased uncle's like album because it's like the 20th anniversary or whatever. And you're trying to figure out who you are, not who people want you to be, but who you are. And the things that you like, which is why, like, when he lets go, he becomes like the space jazz opera kind of person. Walking around the town, I will give them full credit for not drawing attention to it. But they go full-on pun-based for the shop names for this town that you're in.
One of the things I love the most is like background shops that have puns.
Yeah, so there's a lot in there. I'm only going to spoil one because I think it's not the best one of the bunch, but it's a pretty great one.
Okay.
It's a shoe store. And it's called Choose Your Own Adventure.
That's really good.
Number one, it's a great pun. Number two, it's a great reference. And number three, it's appropriate for the actual store itself.
Right. And I mean, they could have gone a music thing by saying like soul music, like SOLE music, but like they didn't. They went a little bit further than that.
Yeah, all of the stores that I've seen have ridiculous pun names, and they are fantastic. So as you're exploring the town at the very beginning of the game, before you get teleported into space, just have a gander at some of the shop names, because some of them are really deep cuts that I really like. Like, come on. At the end of the day, choose your own adventure. That is a joke that we're going to get.
Yep.
Kids are not going to understand it.
Yeah, probably not, yeah.
I literally said to somebody who is 4 years my junior this week, so do you know what a choose your own adventure book is? Because I was trying to explain what Life is Strange is and things like that, and visual novels. Where it's like visual novels are essentially a choose your own adventure book, except you run through it a lot faster.
Sure.
Like, do you know what choose your own adventure is? And this is 4-year age difference. And their response was, no, what's that?
Right.
which
Bummer.
means
Those
that,
books are good.
yes, and that pun is going to be dead in about 2 years' time, dude.
Right.
Like, nobody's going to get it, but unless, visual novels and Life is Strange brings it back around for people. But the game is great. It's
Looking at how
stupid.
long to beat, they say it's only 4 hours long too.
I think I'm about halfway through it.
Okay.
I beat the introduction, and I just got told that there are 3 things I need to do. So I have begun on the one of 3 things.
Okay.
But it's a long introduction, but that's fine because it introduces you to the world and the control scheme, and I hope it doesn't expect me to do any like super long, like button mashy, like rhythm based game kind of
Yeah,
things.
I feel like if any game is going to do it, this one seems the most likely. Or maybe their design document is like, look, I know we're a music game, but like we can't do that.
So the bit that I have come across so far is I think it's called a jam session,
Okay.
where the person opposite you plays the notes, but you play it too at your
Got
own speed and at your own
gotcha.
rhythm. So
Okay.
they might do a dum dum dum, and then you'll do a dum dum dum, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. It doesn't matter how you play it. You play it how you want to play it.
Gotcha.
Um, so it's very interesting so far, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Right.
And also slightly regretful that I don't take any mind-altering substances anymore.
Right, right. It's a natural fit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, it seems fine, and it's on Game Pass, and it literally came out like 3 weeks ago or something like that. So, like, might be worth giving it a shot if you're interested. If you're a fan of ELO, definitely play this game.
Right. Right.
And if you know who ELO are,
Yeah,
definitely play this
just
game.
download it. You probably have Game Pass.
Yes. If you
Yeah.
don't, why not? But
Yeah.
it's good, and I will give a shout out because this is on my list of things I wanted to play, and I only jumped onto it because I saw Chuck from the Bamfcast and No Quarters like tweeted about it once, and he was like, "So yeah, this is how games should be made." And it's like, well, of course, because Chuck probably loves ELO and Pink Floyd, and that's
Right.
entirely his wheelhouse.
Sure.
He is 90 after all.
Right.
I'm sorry, Chuck, I love you.
Right.
But he mentioned it. I was like, oh, that's the game I meant to check out. So I decided to jump into it and give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh boy, everything this week is a experience.
Right. Going for a ride.
With quotations. Yes. But that's all I've been playing. So Boston, tell me about your dungeons exploring, or are you going to save that for NIMP?
No, I'm gonna start with dungeon counters. Actually, I finished it. I minor spoilers here for the final boss. I'm not gonna explain what it is, but if you're playing dungeon counters, you're probably gonna see this coming. That the final boss is just a regular enemy tile on the floor it appears on. There's no like special room. There's no like individual thing. It's just here they are. They're a letter and a number on the floor. Good luck. The game has sort of there are tiles all over the floor that will give you information about enemy units. So the floors leading up to where you fight the boss, each one of those floors will be like, hey, look at this thing. Oh no, what's this guy looking? Oh, this guy and his buddies. So it's pretty clear if you've been paying attention throughout the entirety of the game. It's pretty clear to say like, all right, this tile with like this letter combination is probably the final boss. Either that or like a one of the secret bosses. Should probably keep an eye out for it. But no, for me it was just like, hey, you went to this floor. It's like 3,000 tiles on this floor, and here it is. Here's the final boss. One of these tiles, and I fought the final boss and had like a pretty white knuckle fight, and managed to get out of there, with all 4 people alive. And as soon as I beat the final boss, it rolled credits and then dumped me back in the dungeon. It's like, all right, keep going.
Yeah, it gave you the prompt because you tweeted about it. It gave you the prompt. Do you want to continue exploring this dungeon? And you were like, yes, please.
Yes, please.
Because you have a problem.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Something that I don't think you or Nim have brought up while playing this game. The whole tile exploration thing. When Do you have to press the directional button for every single square, or does it run you to it in a line till you get to fight junction, whatever?
So there is a an auto run button. You can either change it to press circle once or hold circle to keep running. I really didn't use it that much because I just use the analog stick, and you don't need to. If you just hold the stick or the D-pad in one direction, your party will keep running.
Okay.
And like even
I just
if you,
wanted to make sure that it wasn't like press the direction.
no, it's not like tap
3,000
tap 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 tap
times.
tap. Yeah, no. God, I don't know if I would have finished this game because there are 88,000 tiles, a little bit over 88,000 tiles in the entire game. But they do. It's actually pretty nice because if you come up to a set of tiles that are built like a stair, where it's kind of like stair stepped, you can actually just hold the analog stick like at an angle, and it will just like go through the whole thing by itself. You don't have to like up then left then up then left then up. You don't have to do any of that. So it's for how kind of like old school and simple this game looks. There's a lot of those little things where it's like, all right, if I didn't have this, it would be a pretty miserable experience. But yeah, I went through and I platinumed it because I actually was only like 3 or 4 trophies away from platinuming it, and a lot of those was just like I was only missing one ability, so I went and I got that, and then the rest of them were just, hey, explore every single tile of this dungeon. So a lot of that was just, hey, how do I get from floor 90, which has no exit, to the rest of the floors down to floor 99. So that was a fun puzzle in and of itself, which I definitely won't spoil. But Dungeon Encounters is great. It's exactly the thing that it looks like on the tin. Sort of way better if you have the JRPG brainworms.
Which we know you do.
Yeah, but it's definitely one of those games where, like, if you look at it and you hear it's like a straightforward, hardcore, doing the numbers JRPG, if you're pumped about that, you should probably buy Dungeon Encounters. Apparently the Switch version runs really well if you want to like play this and watch a movie at the same time. If none of that sounds good to you, this is absolutely not the game that's going to... It's not like Dragon Quest XI, where it's like, you don't like JRPGs, this is the one to try, because it's kind of a cool thing, and it might win you over. That's not Dungeon Encounters. Dungeon Encounters is just like, hey, do you like math? Get on in here. So, Dungeon Encounters is really cool. We'll talk about it more when Nimp comes back, because he'll probably have finished it by that point. But yeah, if this sounds like a neat thing for you, I would definitely recommend checking it out. If it doesn't, please don't try it. You're not gonna like it. It's not one of those like, it's not what you think. It is. It's that thing.
1,000% what you think.
Yeah. Related to that, I started Voice of Cards: The Isle Dragon Roars. Pharaoh Reigns in chat says Switch version is flawless. Awesome. Thank you. That's always my concern with the Switch now, as it continues to get really long in the tooth, is like, all right, this game seems really... I cannot stop punching my mic. This game seems really straightforward. It should run really well. What does the Switch version look like? So glad to hear that it runs super well. I started Voice of Cards: The Isle Dragon Roars. As I put on Twitter and the Destiny 2 channel in our Discord server, I noticed who the narrator in this game was immediately, because it's the Drifter from Destiny 2, which is,
of course,
really wild to see him in something where he's not yelling at me to bank those moats, sister. So, Voice of Cards is really interesting. Based on a lot of the footage and stuff I was seeing, this seemed like sort of an accidental spiritual successor to Hand of Fate, which I was very excited for. It's not really. They're similar. The thing about Hand of Fate that I think you and I liked a lot is every card that comprises like a square on the dungeon has an encounter. So like if this floor of the dungeon only has 7 cards, that's fine because each one of those cards is going to be a thing, whether it's good or bad or a battle or something. That's not Voice of Cards. Voice of Cards has a ton of cards on the table, but not each one of them does something. So like when you get to the overworld after you get through the tutorial, the overworld is massive. It's probably like 40 by 40 grid of cards. But how it differs from something like Hand of Fate is not each one of those cards is going to be an encounter. There are some obvious ones like here's a town, here's a cave, here's a bridge that you sort of have to force to go over. There's probably something that's going to happen there. Here's a treasure chest that you stumbled upon. But if you're just walking over like a road or a like you're in the middle of a forest or there's a stream or something, that's not guaranteed to have something happen on it. You're going to run into random battles. So it's like, yo, you're walking through a forest, a monster appears, and then start the battles.
Okay.
So it's more like the kind of halfway point between Hand of Fate and like a standard JRPG. And you do dice rolls for some attacks, because some attacks will say, here's a card, you're going to cast a thunder spell, it will do your attack value plus whatever you roll for this dice. So it's kind of nice to have that minimum, like, my attack is 10, I rolled a 1, that's fine. I at least didn't do 1 damage, I did 11.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything is voiced by this guy, which it's sort of tongue-in-cheek, which is kind of great so far. I'm not sure if anyone's following me on Twitter. You probably saw me retweet someone put a genuinely very funny part where your party runs up to this dragon researcher who has a very complicated name, and the narrator mispronounces it before saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me," and then pronounces it correctly and just goes on with the rest of the sentence. That's really good.
It's also a very Drifter thing.
Yeah, like they're really leaning into the strengths of this guy's... Like, it's a fine line between being deadpan and being bored. He's never delivering something where he's bored unless he sort of has to, because he voices all the characters too. It's very much like a DM position, but it's kind of this like tongue-in-cheek dryness to it that I think works really, really, really well. And so far it seems pretty great. I think I've played maybe 2 or 3 hours of it this week. I'm in the middle of like the first big dungeon you go into. This guy, you run into this dragon researcher and he says, "Oh, I would love to help you." As soon as you go on this quest for me, it's like, okay, still a JRPG.
The usual JRPG thing.
Yeah. And I'm fighting like slimes and skeletons and stuff. You know, like it has all the JRPG trappings. So I'm like halfway through the dungeon, which when you get into the dungeon, all of the cards are flipped face down. So whenever you move to a card, the card you landed on and the cards around it all flip face up. So you're sort of like displaying the dungeon as you're walking through it. So it's kind of...
Okay.
It's kind of a neat thing. It's definitely not Hand of Fate 3 that I wanted. I will carry a torch for that game, for that non-existent game, forever. But it seems like a kind of cool, like, taking the ideas from Hand of Fate, you know, that we were talking about on We Rogue Like It, where it's this kind of like Dungeons and Dragons light experience, with a dungeon master and stuff like that. It seems to be taking some of that DNA and kind of moving it into this, and I'm excited to see how it continues to mature over the game. It seems like a cool thing. Very much like the two games on your list. It's very much a unique thing. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
We have a lot of like card-based roguelikes. We have a lot of card-based RPGs, but I feel like we don't have a lot of games where the cards in the deck are the dungeon. Like, they are the play field along with your characters and your equipment and stuff like that. So excited to see where this is going to go. Yoko Taro did work on this game, the Nier guy. It seems like he wrote a lot of scenario stuff. So I'm seeing a lot of his fingerprints in some of the optional stuff you can see on cards. You can like see a little side story with a card. There's like usually a positive thing on the front of the card, and then a sort of negative or darker aspect to the back of the card. So you can see a lot of his stuff there. But I haven't played a ton of this, so I don't really want to pass judgment yet. But seems like a cool thing so far. I'm not sure if Nimp picked this up either, but I know he was talking about picking this up. But I picked this up because I finished Dungeon Encounters. It's like, all right, let's hop into the next RPG. Let's go. Top 10. Okay.
Yeah. The RPG train continues.
Yeah. Never stops. Last game I got here, Moonglow Bay, came out on Game Pass for Xbox and PC this week. I've played a lot of Moonglow Bay, partially for one really stupid reason. I got about...
That's no way to describe your child.
She's not stupid. I am. I somehow missed the very large menu option that says save/load. And as I was trying to go to the options to make the music louder, because Lena Raine did this soundtrack as well, and it's very nothing she does is bad, so it's very good. My kid decided to quit out of the game, and it doesn't have autosave, so wasted about those first 2.5 hours, which definitely saving a lot more now. Moonglow Bay,
almost like you're playing a classic RPG there.
That's right. That's right. Moonglow Bay makes a really good first impression, because you pick one of these 4 pictures for your character. You then pick their pronoun. It offers you he, she, and they. And then you pick your partner. There are 4 additional portraits, and then you pick their pronoun. You get to name your character, but your partner already has a name. And you go through like a quick intro thing, you get the story. It's time skips to 3 years later, and you're in Moonglow Bay, sort of restarting your life. Let's get it out of the way first. I still don't like the art style.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because this is that...
voxels.
Thank you, that's the word, yes.
But, like, not voxels like we usually see it, where they're kind of like larger, chunkier characters. They're trying to do a lot of stuff with detail with these characters, and I just don't think it works for me. That has always been my concern since they started showing this game off, is it's not an art style that I really enjoy. There's that game that came out on Game Pass last week too, the one that everyone's saying is like, oh, it's like Earthbound and Stranger Things. That one has a very similar art style, and it's not a thing for me. Which is sort of like made better / worse by the hand-drawn art in the game is all incredible. It's really, really, really good. You get these little like Polaroid-based interstitials when you go to bed, or you're improving a building in the town, which, heaven help me, you can restore the entire town, which is just the death of me.
No.
Or like when you catch fish, there's like a really great piece of artwork associated with each fish that you pick up. But so far, I've probably put like maybe 10 hours into this or so because my kid really likes watching it. So far, it seems really solid. You're running. You essentially go to this town, you catch a bunch of fish, you cook them, and then you sell the food you cook out of the fish. So you're running this they call it like a food stall out of your house. You have this little vending machine out of your house that just has a bunch of fish dishes in it. So you make a bunch of fish, toss them in there, and people buy them. They do a lot of cool quality of life things, like you don't have to go pick up the money from the vending machine. It just gets deposited into your account. You only have to go catch the fish. So like if you go make fish tacos, you only need to supply the fish. The rest of the food like magically comes from your fridge in your house. And it's just, if you need to supply other ingredients other than the fish, it just costs a little bit of money to make the dish every time you make it. And then it usually sells for more because it's more than like just a fish on a plate. The fishing so far feels pretty solid. It's pretty straightforward, but early on they give you like, here's 4 different types of rods. Here's 3 or 4 different types of fish that you can kind of change the lure to. And then here's a bunch of bait you can make to catch like just small fish, small or medium and large fish. And it largely is focused on not only the fishing, but also the people in the town. The Moonglow Bay is largely wrecked because there's this monster in the bay, or so the town thinks. So nobody has been sailing to go catch fish because they don't want to be killed by this monster. So this fishing town is sort of in ruins because nobody's going out and fishing. So part of what you're doing is like convincing them to bring the town back to life. It's solid. It's hard because I don't feel that pull from something like Stardew Valley. I don't feel that pull of these kind of like day-to-day life games. And to me, that's separate from the art style. That's not really ruining anything. But I feel like it's really easy to recommend this game to anyone who's looking for something like that, because it's very much in the same vein. But I just don't feel that pull where it's like, I'm going to sit here for the next 4 hours today and just lose a couple of hours to this game. And I don't know if that's just where we're at in the year or how I feel about Moonglow.
Yeah, I'm curious also if that's the art style, because something like that can have an effect on it. So like Stardew Valley's art style is very simplistic, but also really good.
It's very charming. Yeah. I think, I don't think that's really bothering me. I don't like the look of it, but it's not one of those things where it's like, God, I just can't take this anymore. I think it works really well for like the towns and the buildings, especially because they're really big structures. They can kind of get away with being blocky. But the game is trying to do a lot of like face animation stuff with voxels. And I feel like that stuff is really kind of not succeeding because it's hard for me to tell what they're trying to accomplish with some of how the characters look. So yeah, I don't think for me that it's really a detriment. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's not really for me. You know, this isn't my style or anything, but not one of those things where it's like, man, if you don't like the style, don't play this game. It does largely seem good. I'm trying to keep playing through it. The second boss battle I fought against the lightning fish, one of the worst boss battles I've probably played this entire year. It's a miserable, frustrating experience. The thing they should have said was raise all 4 buoys, then go try and pull this fish out of the water. If the fish knocks the buoys out of the water, pull all 4 of them back up before you go try and do it again. That turned out to be the key. But that's go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time people talk about fish, I immediately think about Wind Waker, and all I hear in my head is the "ahoy hoy" from the fish that takes you everywhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, no ahoy hoy in this yet, but there's still time. I don't know. It seems pretty good. I wish there was a little bit more freedom. The story seems a little bit, for me, overly directed. I wish it was more freeform, because you go to town, you restore this one building, they say, oh, great, talk to the mayor. You restore this other building. Oh, great, now here's 2 buildings to restore. Oh, great, now here's another one. I kind of wish I was a little bit less directed on that stuff, because there's so much in the town that you could tell you're going to need to restore. I wish I could prioritize what stuff to restore and kind of make that storyline my own, as opposed to, here's the one you're going to restore next, here's the one you're going to restore next. But again, that's more of a personal thing and not a, like, I'm not going to keep playing this game anymore because I can't restore the library. That sort of thing.
Come on, that's just because you want Dark Cloud, where literally you have to build the city based on context clues.
Don't even get me started. I would love it. But sadly, nothing else is like Dark Cloud 2. But yeah, Moonglow Bay seems good. It's not like a run out and go play it right now, like a Stardew Valley or something. But I think you're getting that same genre of games, like this cozy, more casual kind of crafting, fishing thing.
Yeah.
So, and thankfully it's on Game Pass. I was going to spend the money and buy it anyway, but if I don't have to, that's great. It's also not on PS5 yet. But also credit to the team it's working on it. They're really small, but they already put out a pretty meaty update. The game had, on Xbox, had a pretty serious VSync issue out of the gate, which made running around the town vomitous. And thankfully they fixed that very quickly. And they look like they're fixing stuff pretty quickly, which is nice. But Moonglow Bay, give it a shot if you got a little bit of time. I think if you spend like maybe an hour or 2 with it, I think you'll figure out pretty quickly if you're going to enjoy that or not. It seems like that amount of time, it's just going to kind of be that for the rest of the game, for better or for worse. I think for me, that's a selling point, but I can understand if someone plays it for a little bit and they're like, yeah, I'm good. No thanks. But that's it. That's all I'm playing. Let's take a break.
Yup.
I don't think we're going to do questions this week because we just need to get through this and be done with this episode. We'll carry some of that stuff over to next week.
Here we go, walking down the street.
Do. Oh, man. Okay. Are you ready for our second segment?
Yes.
Thank you for putting Pharaoh's question in the chat, or in the document.
You're welcome. I figured if you're gonna skip them, you're gonna copy them from that, so I'll have it in there now, so we can get to it next week.
Yeah, I'll copy and paste it over to next week. Get these blinds closed a little bit. All right, I made it a little better. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes. There's a lot of bloody crap coming out this week.
There we are in this season. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of November 1st, 2021. Unpacking comes out on Switch and PC. You've probably seen me screaming to the heavens about this on Twitter over the last 2 years. This is the one where you have all the boxes in this house. You're unpacking stuff and kind of putting it on the shelf. It looks like a very cozy, chill thing where you're kind of figuring out the lives of these people as you're going through and unpacking their house. Looks cool. Excited to check this out, probably on the Switch. Bloodshore comes out for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android. This is the new Wales Interactive game.
Yep.
This is their.
I was going to say it's a battle royale, but not as you know it.
Yeah, it's a FMV live streamed battle royale with personalities. It looks really great. If you haven't played a Wales Interactive game, go play. What was that one we played for Game Club?
Night Shift.
Night Shift.
Or Late
Go play
Shift?
Late Shift. There it is, Late Shift. Yeah, go play Late Shift and go listen to the Game Club episode, and maybe then go pick up Bloodshore because it looks great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, excited for that one. Excited for new Wales Interactive joint. Just Dance 2022 comes out on PS5, Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and Stadia.
Sure.
Didn't see a PS4 release for this. I'm not sure if that's it seems like a fairly obvious platform to come out on, but who knows. Where Cards Fall comes out on Switch and PC. I think we saw this at maybe the Game Awards earlier this year. I don't think it was part of E3. But this is a little indie game. They're calling it a slice of life puzzle game where you build houses of cards to bring formative memories to life. It's kind of this neat thing where we're using a deck of cards to kind of build the environment around these characters. They're also really pushing that it's the first game by the Game Band, which is a game studio that I recognized the name of, and I couldn't place it until I realized they make Blaseball. So that's
if you know, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of wild if you want to play their first kind of traditional release. So excited to put that in PS prices and get to that later because it's November. Animal Crossing New Horizons Happy Home Paradise DLC comes out on the Switch. This is part of that overly priced expansion pack for the Nintendo Switch Online that they have, or it's $25. So, you know, you get some choices here, but if you're still playing Animal Crossing, this seems like a pretty no-brainer pickup. I might check this out. I could go back to some Animal Crossing, I bet. Seems like a good time.
Yeah. If you haven't played in a long time, good job going back to it now.
Yeah,
your island is going to be a disaster.
Yeah, and the guilt. Oh, we haven't seen you in months. Where have you been? It's like, I'm sorry. It's a pandemic. Call of Duty Vanguard comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. This isn't the show for Call of Duty info. I'm sorry. I have failed you. I don't know what this contains.
Dude, it's the new Call of Duty game. That's all you need to know. Anybody who's into Call of Duty already knows everything to do with this Call of Duty.
Yeah,
so...
I'm not. We're not your place for Call of Duty news.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it was Rob Zacny who tweeted recently about how Call of Duty is so wild because it can go from like, what are the numbers, Mason? All that kind of serious storytelling to, oh hey, there's the Donnie Darko bunny rabbit.
Yeah, dropping a nuke on someone.
Yeah, dropping a plane engine on somebody from an alternate dimension. It's just like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Real wild stuff. Tales of Luminaria, I think that's how you pronounce it, comes out on iOS and Android. This is a Tales game where they're like making a real big deal where it's like all 21 characters are totally free. The gacha system is for all their weapons and gear. It's like, okay, that's maybe not better.
Nope, definitely not, I would say.
Yeah, I'll check that out, but probably won't stick with it because there hasn't been a gacha game in a long time that I have stuck with. The Kid Amnesia Exhibition, it's probably an expedition too, comes out PC, OS X, and PS5. If you like Radiohead, you're probably like me and you're just going to check it out anyways because you're a giant nerd for Radiohead stuff. Me and Mackie will probably be checking this out as it comes out. But it's probably not going to be a game. So if you don't like Radiohead...
It literally says exhibition in it.
Yeah, please don't download this if you're not a Radiohead fan. Or specifically, if you don't like Kid A and Amnesiac. Just don't bother. And A Boy and His Blob comes out on the Switch. This is the Way Forward one they put out on the Wii. Wii
This
regular
is the
Wii.
Hug the Blob.
Yeah, the hug button Boy in his Blob one. Way Forward made it. So that's coming to Switch. Which one of those games where it's like, oh, you weren't on the Switch already. Okay, that seems like a pretty natural fit for that game, but better late than never. PlayStation had their State of Play this week. It was like a 40-minute showcase about their third-party offerings. We're going to hit the high notes here. It showed off a new trailer for We Are OFK, which is, I am apparently the only person that is anywhere near interested in this game, based on the 1,000 likes on YouTube to 4,800 dislikes for this video. It seems like people aren't really getting that they're not a real band. It seems like it's a very much a chapter-based, like Life is Strange kind of like adventure visual novel decision thing. A Life is Strange like. But at the end of each episode, like a song from their EP is released. So like there's also an album that's going to come out alongside of it. I don't know. It seems like a cool thing. Like we don't get a lot of like virtual band, Life is Strange music released sort of things. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
But obviously I don't have a PlayStation, so
yeah. I'm hoping it comes out on more stuff eventually, because it seems like a pricey endeavor. So I'm hoping that comes out on a lot of platforms. They announced Bugsnax: The Isle of Big Snacks. Big is all in caps. They found an island at the bottom of the ocean, and hey, there's more Bugsnax there, and they're big, which largely seems like the theme of this DLC. This is also really funny about Bugsnax physically, because I thought, well, I like this game, and I'll have like the complete thing on disc. And then like 2 days after it shows up on my doorstep, they announced this DLC that I probably won't play, because I'm not sure if I'm interested in more Bugsnax, because that game ended in exactly... Yeah, well, and it ended like exactly in the way that I wanted it to, and I'm not sure if I need more Bugsnax in my life.
You know what this makes me want? This DLC? As always, when Bugsnax shows up, it makes me want another Viva Pinata.
Yes.
And especially if you do a giant Viva Pinatas as well.
Oh, man. I'd love another Viva Pinata. What a missed opportunity.
Imagine a world the size of your screen in 4K.
So cool looking. Man. They showed off Death's Door, coming out on PS4 and PS5 November 23rd. I liked that game a whole lot. That's in my top 10 for sure. Probably pretty high on the list. So if you haven't played it yet, highly recommend it. It's really, really great. Oh, God. Star Ocean: The Divine Force was shown off.
It has the name Star Ocean in it, which means that I want to play it, and immediately I don't want to play it.
You don't want to play it. Star Ocean is bad. Star Ocean hasn't been good since the PS1. The first two games were fine. The rest of them are bad, like aggressively, genuinely bad. It's such a bummer, because, man, this one looks bad, too. It's just... The Star Ocean series, like... It's just... Someone can spend JRPG money doing something. Bring Final Fantasy Tactics to the Switch. Bring Dark Cloud 3 out. Level 5 needs money. Like, bring... God, what was that? Dreamcast pirate sailing... Skies of Arcadia. Bring that out on modern platforms. Stop with Star Ocean. Just stop.
Parasite Eve, Dark Cloud.
A Parasite Eve collection. Something. I swear. Anyways, they showed off a lot more Little Devil Inside to close off the show. This is looking way better than it did originally. This is a really, really cool looking thing. Narratively, it looks neat. The map looks cool. I think this is one of those games where they keep showing off more of it, and I keep looking at it and be like, yeah, Yeah, someone made a cool little thing for me. This looks really neat. It reminds me a lot of like my excitement leading up to Death's Door, where it's like, all right, this is, you got a cool art style, you got a cool little thing. Like, I know not a lot of people are going to play it, but I feel like I will, and I will enjoy it and kind of shout to the rooftops about this thing. I show off a bunch of other stuff, but it's either games that are on our blacklist, or like developers that are on our blacklist, or games that just don't look super interesting, so we're not going to cover them. Next news story, Division 2's next big update planned for February 2022. Swear to God. They've been working on this. I was going to say, if you haven't been keeping track of Division 2, nobody has.
Yep, I was literally about to say that exact same thing.
Yeah, they essentially have done a rerun of like the first 4 seasons of the game. They reran them again. They all have like big story implications for the Division 2. Like the let me see how I can say this without spoiling us. The villain of the final season carries over the ending of the New York expansion. So there's like you go enact justice for this person that has like screwed up the entire thing, including like the Division 1 and 2. So there's a reason to go back in there and check that stuff out. Also, Division 2 is really fun, so you can like blow through some of that story stuff pretty quickly and then just kind of move on to something else. They've been working on this for a really long time. They're talking about like revamping a lot of systems, especially the specialization system, which in Division 2 was like, do you want like a sniper rifle that does nothing, or a crossbow that does nothing, or a rocket launcher that kind of sucks? Like all of the specializations kind of stink, and there's no reason to use them over just your regular guns. Sounds like they're going to revamp that. It's just a bummer it's coming out when literally every other big video game is coming out, including the big first-person shooter MMO that I play. The big expansion's coming out. So it just... Yep. It seems like one of those things was like, I'm sure investors are making you push this out the door, but it really seems like you're putting yourself in a pretty bad position coming up against, Destiny 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn, the sequel to that, like whatever else is going to slip into that week as well. Like,
yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'd love to play more Division 2. I don't know where I'm going to find the storage space on my PS5 because the PS5's internal SSD is tiny, and Division 2 is like 102 gigs, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but check it out at some point. Speaking of the PS5, Returnal 2.0 is out. This is the big update that we've all been waiting for since Returnal came out. Comes with a photo mode, whatever. Most importantly, comes with an option to suspend your run. If you played a lot of Game Boy Advance games, this is a quick save option where it will make a temporary save. Next time you fire up the game, you can go ahead and load that save, which will then delete itself. You can kind of keep going on with your run. If you've been avoiding Returnal for this very reason, you should check out Returnal. It is genuinely really great. It also came out super early this year, so I sort of forgot it came out in 2021, but it's very good. And if you had understandably avoided it because you couldn't suspend your hours-long runs, which is fair, go check out Returnal. It's very good. The fourth boss music is still stupid and amazing in an incredible way. It's so good. Returnal is great. All right, that's all of our news stories this week. We are running super late because we have a problem with recording too many things that run too long. So
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, nothing at all.
No, not at all. That's not a problem. So we're gonna call it here. We'll carry over everybody's questions here for the next week, and we'll wrap it up here. You can find us at tvgp.tv, Ever to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page, including the Discord server. You should come and hang out with us. A lot of new people in there. A lot of cool chats. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Pleasure chatting with all of you. Patreon, link is over there. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Talk about all that cool stuff, including some cool new behind-the-scenes stuff that's coming late next month. You can also see where all of your hard-earned money goes. We appreciate everyone that's a patron. That stuff genuinely... My job doesn't pay me anything. Neither does this job, this thing you're listening to right here. All of that stuff goes to covering software and hosting and website hosting and all that stuff. You can see where all of your hard-earned money goes on the Patreon page. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. You can help us by rating 5 stars wherever you listen, telling a friend, sharing on social media, stuff like that. Any of that word-of-mouth stuff really, really helps a lot, especially ratings. That gets more eyeballs on the show, that gets more people listening, and that gets more people interacting with us and more people to hang out with all of us, places like Twitter and the Discord server, which we really like. I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. So. Bye.
Bye.
Pharaoh Reigns in chat says, where can I find your blacklist? Moon's right, we don't really have it anywhere officially, but it's like... I feel like a lot of it, when you hear of developers or companies that come out and you're like, ooh, that's not good, that probably goes on the blacklist. So it's usually a pretty easy thing. If you're listening to the show, you're probably aligned with our values pretty closely. So you're probably going to look at a lot of these companies or developers and be like, oh, I don't. Somebody wrote a twit-longer about their experiences with a developer and it's real bad. We're probably not going to support their stuff anymore.
Yep.
Titles. What do you have for titles?
A singular sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A video game jar. Indescribable but neat. RPG train continues. Ahoy hoy. A battle royale not as you know it. And this is for me.
The only additional one I wrote down was I'm having an existential crisis.
Oh, is that the show title or the theme for the year? I don't know.
Yeah. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Pharaoh Reigns says, yes, I love your values. Trans gamers rule. That's right. They sure do. I like existential crisis a lot, apparently, even though I can't say it. Anything from your list that was really jumping out?
I like a singular sort of thing, but I do think existential crisis probably takes it, if I'm honest.
Okay. I shall circle it on my notebook.
I shall highlight it in my tablet.
Ooh, look at the lighting. Cyberpunk.
That's not Cyberpunk, dude. That's Anakin before he turns into Darth Vader.
I just wanted to say Cyberpunk because I'm trying to work my way through Tim Rogers' 10.5-hour Cyberpunk review, which, you were talking about Choose Your Own Adventure stuff earlier in the episode. Tim Rogers' Cyberpunk review is a Choose Your Own Adventure video review. So it is in 8 parts. You watch the intro, you pick 2 of the 7 stories he's presented, watch 2 of them, and then watch the outro.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm halfway through my first story. I've decided to watch what he liked about Cyberpunk, which so far is very good, and then the point, which is typically my favorite part of his videos. Okay.
That's kind of cool.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Excuse me. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 732 for November 1st, 2021. I'm having an existential crisis.
What does it all mean?
The numbers, Mason. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Guys, see a ton of dropped frames here. I give up. I don't understand. I don't know. I gotta call my ISP. Figure out what's going on. This sucks. I hate it. Hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.